Well, Sierra Leone, as a small country in terms of population and size, this summit provides the opportunity for the country, for His Excellency the President, for the First Lady, the Foreign Minister, but also colleague ministers to be part of this global agenda setting. When the United States invites African leaders to a U.S.-African Leadership Summit, it is important for countries like Sierra Leone to be part of that process. As a small country, when you are on the global stage of this nature, your presence is felt, the presence and the recognition of your country is demonstrably manifested. But not only that, the leadership of the country and the progress made, you have the opportunity to tell your own story in your own words, on your own terms. That is important. So for us here, we're here to tell our story. The progress made by Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone today is no longer defined by its past. The past history of war, of Ebola, of mudslide. Today, Sierra Leone is a liberal, progressive, dynamic country that has held, since the end of the war, 5 successful democratic elections, including 2 transfer of power from the opposition, from the incumbent government to opposition, which is rare in Africa. Today, Sierra Leone has abolished the death penalty. After 223 years, today no one in the country, Sierra Leone, if you are practicing journalism, no one is a political prisoner or for the conduct and the practice of journalism, because the government, after 50 years, has repealed the criminal libel law. So Sierra Leone today is a liberal, progressive country that has taken the advantage of investing 22% of the national budget purely on education.
People are saying it's too much and that it will break the budget or break the back of Sierra Leone. How do you respond to that?
My dear learned journalist, the alternative is ignorance. Do you know the price of ignorance? Those who are saying that are misguided. But at least they have a concern, a legitimate concern. The president has said, Sierra Leone is known for its abundant strategic mineral resources. From diamond to gold to bauxite to iron ore, you name them, we have them. 24 known strategic mineral resources. But they have not translated into sustainable development of the country. So since the election of His Excellency Dr. Julius Maada Bio as president of the country with the new direction government, the focus has been on investment in human capital development. With a focus on education, free quality education, focus on health and agriculture, food security. So in a way, if you put 22% of the national budget, we are here to tell that story to the rest of our own African colleagues and friends and allies, but also to the United States. Yes, it's expensive. For a small country, when you put 22% of your national budget, what spare envelope do you have to put in other areas? So that is a legitimate concern. But we believe that when you invest in your own human capital, that is the surest foundation to take the country in the next 10 to 20 years into middle income status. This is how other countries have developed.
Right. So, Mr. Foreign Minister, as you tell your story here, how are the business communities here in the U.S. reacting to it? Because obviously you want investors to come to Sierra Leone, and is the climate ready? Are there conflict resolution mechanisms to resolve some conflict if investors come? Will their investment be protected?
Well, what I can say is that investment capital is shy by definition. No one wants to go into an unstable environment. Sierra Leone today is emerging as the #1 investor's destination of choice in the West African sub-region. Why is that so? Firstly, Sierra Leone is a peaceful country. It's a peaceful country until recently, before August 10, 2022. Sierra Leone was ranked as the 4th most peaceful country in sub-Saharan Africa. Even after August 10, Sierra Leone was downgraded 4 places. We are the 8th most peaceful country in sub-Saharan Africa. Anyone who is involved in, who wants to invest, will want to look at for a climate that is conducive, that is peaceful, that is secure. That is one. Secondly, Sierra Leone today has created the enabling environment for the ease of doing business. His Excellency the President has established the National Investment Board as a one-stop shop. So when you come there, in terms of the legal, financial, technical concurrencies that you need to establish your company and to make sure that the project or the investment is up and running, we have the National Investment Board. And thirdly, as a country, the president has said, look, let's shift away from the focus on development assistance. Those who used to give development assistance, the Western development capitalist societies, they themselves, they don't have, especially the COVID crisis exposed the limitations of all of this. So the president has said, look, now let's focus on Sierra Leone, promoting and presenting Sierra Leone as the investor's destination of choice for trade and investment. So here we are. The response so far has been phenomenally positive because they see in Sierra Leone a country that is peaceful and stable, a country that has credible leadership, a country that has created the enabling environment to support businesses with tax incentives to encourage them to come. So that is why I am very positive in all the interactions with the African Business Forum, with the US Business Forum as well. We are very positive with the response in terms of their readiness to come with trade and investment delegation in the first quarter of next year, and then after the election in June to come back to Sierra Leone in the following areas: in the mining sector, in the agricultural sector, education, health, tourism, etc. You know, I used to describe Sierra Leone when I go around the globe that Sierra Leone today is the new El Dorado. Because the opportunities are there. Foreign ministers, you don't. Sierra Leone today, we are not going around looking for development assistance. I am not saying it's not important. It is. But no country has ever developed by handouts. India, Brazil, they are examples. They needed aid. Even South Korea, they needed it. Today, these are progressive, middle income, high income countries. So Sierra Leone wants to follow that path by investing in human capital, by creating the environment for trade and investment. Because when you have the private sector believing in the country's progress, then you can then create opportunities for job creation, new investment, wealth creation, poverty reduction, skills training, etc., etc. The opportunities are huge and enormous. We cannot do this by sitting in Freetown or in Sierra Leone. We have to be in Washington. And by the way, this is winter. Whoever thought of inviting Africans in the winter to come to Washington? Well, of course, that's the American government.
So
we are here.
Let me ask you this. What does this summit mean for you and the delegation, the president who led the delegation? What does it mean?
It means this is a game changer because the president yesterday, the president was one of the keynote speakers on the diaspora panel, and he was the first to speak, giving the importance of what he has to say around education transformation and how we can leverage the opportunities of diaspora for trade and investment, for governance, for liberal progressive posture of the country. So that is one. Secondly, the president is scheduled to meet with President Biden today in the White House, and accompanied by the foreign minister. How many leaders have this opportunity to meet with President Biden, the US president, etc.? It's important. So the president has the opportunity to tell the story of Sierra Leone in his own terms, in his own words, to his colleague, the President of the United States. The president is also meeting with other African leaders, so they have a common agenda to promote to the United States to say, look, Africa has made progress. The Africa of the past is no longer the Africa of today. Today we are talking about liberal, progressive, new generation of African leaders who understands the geopolitics of what is happening today, but focus on their own national interests. These are leaders who are focused on democratic governance, constitutionalism, the rule of law, institution building, and they have built together credible leadership to support them in that process. So when we come here, for example, today, Sierra Leone is MCC, the Millennium Corporation. It's eligible.
I was going to ask you about that. How did you qualify, or what measures did you put in place to make you eligible, or to be declared that you are eligible to participate in the MCC account?
What I can say, it has been a tough and grueling but very positive process. You know, the MCC process is very important because it is not the United States that is validating the scores. The United States use the global governance institutions, the IMF, the World Bank, and other credible institutions to verify the progress made and the score made by every country. In the past 4 years, the president has said, let us focus on making sure that we secure the compact. As a small country with a very small envelope, with the compact coming in, we want to focus on, the president has said, on energy security in the country to make it accessible for all. So today, I am very pleased that we are compact ready and eligible, and the announcement will be made in October. And for us, the president is very clear. This is the beginning. With the success of the MCC compact, the president has said his priority is to look to a second compact. So here we have a very liberal, progressive, confident president that is not just about securing the compact once, but twice. It has happened with other countries. Rwanda, Senegal, they have done it. So why should we not do it? But it's not an easy task because it's a grueling, systematic, very onerous process, but we have in the leadership of the president and the vice president who has been leading on the MCC compact process to make sure that all hands are on deck. And when I served before as chief minister, I supported that process to make sure that we reach all the benchmarks and all the scores that are needed. So we are very pleased that we've made some progress.
Before we go, Mr. Foreign Minister, what do you think will be the major takeaways of this summit since you've been here? What do you think so far? What would be the major takeaways?
What I can say is that I sense in the interactions with the Secretary of State and Defense and others, I see that there is a genuine willingness on the part of the Biden administration to listen. I think that is important, to listen from the African perspective, what the African leaders are preoccupied about, what their genuine and legitimate concerns are about, and that listening then translates into partnership and collaboration. I sense that. That is positive. Secondly, for a small country like Sierra Leone to be given that platform, Sierra Leone is almost on almost all the platforms. That is huge for Sierra Leone. So today, as I say, Sierra Leone is a small country, but it's a big country in terms of our stature. Also, the takeaway here is that Sierra Leone today is the African Union endorsed candidate for a seat in the United Nations Security Council in the non-permanent category for 2024-2025. We have not been able to engage at this highest level with the United States government, which is a P5 member. So we have this opportunity today. The president will be meeting with President Biden. I will be engaging with the Secretary of State Blinken. So we have the opportunity to tell our story that Sierra Leone is coming back to the UN Security Council after 50 years absent. What better way to promote Sierra Leone on the global stage?
Thank you very much, Mr. Foreign Minister.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.